International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, a group of protesters demonstrate against mandatory COVID-19 vaccines. Katutura After School Center observes UN Day. Vehicle worth 600,000 Namibia dollars stolen from car dealer. Orlindi Orphanage embarks on gardening project to produce food for the center. And Roundup, Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports and the weather. First up, a group of concerned citizens gathered at Windhoek Zoo Park last week to demonstrate against COVID-19 vaccines becoming mandatory. The protesters say they favor the vaccines but disagree with government supporting the idea of it becoming mandatory. Earlier this month, Defense Chief Martin Phineas reportedly announced that all servicemen in the military must take mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations. The news seems to have sent shock and disappointment amongst several community members as a group of protesters gathered in the CBD last week to express their frustration.
This demonstration is actually about the mandatory vaccination that we are seeing coming into Namibia. As you remember very well, there's the Minister of Defense have introduced to the whole army of this country that they must be vaccinated. That type of mandatory vaccination is what we say no to it. The protesters also expressed disappointment with Head of State Hage Gengob's alleged advice through Attorney General Festus Mbendeka to employers to reserve the right to enforce mandatory vaccination against the pandemic. We have heard how the head of state, through the Attorney General, when he told the employers of this country that they reserve the right to tell their workers to go for vaccine by force, and if they don't want, then they can be fired. That is what we don't want in this country. One of the protesters feel the enforcement of mandatory vaccinations is a violation of the Namibian constitution.
We have a constitution in Namibia that all of us need to respect that. It does not matter who you are, whether you are up or down, rich or poor, educated or uneducated. You need to respect the constitution of Namibia. We have to understand, by forcing people to take vaccine, you are evaluating that very constitution that protects us all.
During the 35th COVID-19 public briefing, President Gengob said the current measures are there to save lives and reactivate the economy.
So we're acting as if this vaccination is a new thing that just came after COVID. It's still voluntary. You have your freedom. But I said your freedom stops where other person's freedom starts. And the national common good, those are the things to look at. Why do we always fight on our simple things? That is just meant to safeguard our lives and reactivate the economy.
During the same event, Defense Minister Frans Kapofi explained the functions of NDF members and why they must be vaccinated.
They can be told any time to undertake any mission anywhere. In missions, some of them go to joint meetings, joint operation meetings, SADC standby force, etc. So it is not punishment, but it is to look after the welfare of these troops. And there is no need to politicize as I see it happening now. I hear there are those that I'm told are getting involved in petition to petition the president. I believe those are not soldiers. These are just people who are disguising themselves as soldiers. A soldier, the life of a soldier is a life of a soldier. And you believe in what you are told by your commander.
The protesters did not manage to hand over the petition to the office of the presidency due to unexpected rains.
Saying the same thing, no vaccine by force.
Oranjemund, established in 1936, from which point onwards CDM, now Namdeb Diamond Corporation, provided every service, the schooling, infrastructure and entertainment required for the people of the town. The winds of change is blowing over Oranjemund, which is no longer a closed town.
This ship was commandeered by King Charles III, and he actually sent a knight to Spain to go and fetch some money from investors, because they wanted to go and fetch some spices in India.
When we were kids, the mine delivered milk, bread, and black paper, black plastic bags for your rubbish, and cleaned your garden, did the maintenance of your house. You had furniture already installed in your house.
Don't just go into making clothes, because this is why people think fashion designers are just there to make clothes. We can create artworks, for instance.
I was working in a 22nd floor of a building in finance in a city we all want to visit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But as a royal hustler, you would wanna be having an impact in the day-to-day life of people you work with and interact with, and you want to have an impact in the things that you're doing.
Under the theme Building Resilient Communities, this year's UN Day was celebrated at the Katutura After School Center with the focus on threats that gender-based violence and climate change pose on communities and impact on the youth.
The day was officially created in 1945, where the UN and its member states committed themselves to maintaining peace and security around the world. The UN resident coordinator at the occasion remarked that Namibia is greatly affected by climate change, further calling on the protection and restoration of ecosystems.
The United Nations Namibia works in partnership with the government of the Republic of Namibia, development partners, and the private sector to deliver on the promises of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which is mainstreamed in the country's National Development Plan. With the COP26 summit starting at the end of this month, there is an urgent call to United Nations among the world to tackle climate change. We need to accelerate action towards the larger goals of the landmark Paris Agreement and the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change.
Special advisor to the First Lady notes that violence against women and girls is one of the most prevalent human rights violations, further stressing the need to strengthen survivor-centered health systems.
Gender-based violence undermines the health, the dignity, the security and the autonomy of its victims and survivors. Sexual and gender-based violence comes at a very high social cost, not only for Namibia, but globally. Yet, the wounds it inflicts on our society remain hidden by a culture of secrecy. If you ask me today what's the most difficult of dealing with sexual and gender-based violence, then it is intrafamilial and incest. It is complex. It takes deep-rooted and sustained efforts to change the harmful beliefs, norms, and attitudes about women and children. But it takes courage to hold each other accountable.
The Katutura After School Center caters to 500 children between the ages of 6 and 18, offering programs such as school and family integration, interim night shelter, and income-generating projects such as gardening, sewing, and beads.
You've got to be anything, you should be everything. Strength provider, the architect of every ring. Experience penny, see the face of God and live.
And I dream it to can knock it. I pray to God for my enemy. Why your lady, why your baby, why not baby? Insta baby, Insta baby, Insta baby. Why you everybody shake what your mama gave ya. Everybody move what your mama gave ya. Everybody shake what your mama gave ya. Everybody move, yeah, lost, fuck.
You are now watching the Bulletin Countdown.
Remember the mission. Yeah. Revisualize the vision. Connect to the journey, stir early. Step one, step two, next step. Restart at the beginning of what I'm feeling. The future we believe in. Let's start dreaming. NAMIBIA. No matter what they say, we here to stay. So find believers just like you. Hand in hand, this is what we do. More steps, yeah, we get through. Let's go. Start again, you can. You connected to the world, yeah, we stand. Determined to move on hand in hand. Put the switch on, a new reform. Let's rise. Together we rise. MTC, make the connection.
God said. It's interesting to see if we have a look at John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In other words, what I see drives me to go out what I say. And I believe this is the goal of our Bible school, to teach me to see. And I dare to say, what you see must change your heart. Because you cannot move out if you don't have a changed heart. By the word of God, everything is created. God wants you to speak the word so that things can be created. Say to your neighbor, created.
The Windhoek City Police retrieved a Jeep Cherokee that was stolen from a car dealership after the suspects used a fake invoice document. The suspects delivered the invoice close to the end of the workday as a distraction for the car dealership not to have enough time to verify whether or not the funds reflected in their bank account.
City Police Communications head Sili Kapolo said that the suspect who dealt with this crime has become creative and has urged car dealers not to let their guard down but to be vigilant at all times.
We managed to arrest a male in his early 30s over a case of forgery. He submitted a forged proof of payment to a local car dealership in an exchange of a Jeep worth 600,000. This happened around 1500 hours of 15:30, and knowing so well that that was end of business, and there was no way that the car dealership could verify the proof of payment with the bank because it was closed.
Kapolo added that the car dealership only discovered later when the 600,000 Namibian dollars did not reflect in their account.
The car dealership only discovered this after realizing that the amount was not reflecting on their account. This is not quite a common crime, but whenever it happens, criminals usually target the end of business hours, either Friday at around 1500 hours or Saturdays when banks are closing, knowing that so well that businesses won't be able to verify proof of payment. So therefore, I just want to urge businesses that it's very important that you scrutinize that proof of payment, and sometimes it's not even easy to tell if it's forged or not. However, what is important is that do not hand out the items if you know that the payment has not reflected yet on your account.
With the festive season fast approaching, the Windhoek City Police encourages residents to be vigilant, as criminals are usually very active during this period.
Early this morning, woke up holding my head, hearing my heartbeat all night long. Shades of this motel keeping me in bed, reading the news, just trying to stay strong. I need to just get up, take a deep breath, keep it together, 'cause it's a beautiful day. Sun on my face, feeling okay. Don't let it get away. It's a beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day. Feel so proud, screaming out loud. It's a beautiful day.
Oh, it's Bucky season!
It's Bucky season at OK, where everybody's rushing for the chance to win a Bucky, fully loaded with groceries every week. Just buy any of our participating products and swipe. Plus, get Kellogg's cornflakes for only $38.99, Omo hand washing powder for just $39.99, and Nescafe Classic for a low $59.99. Don't miss this Bucky season, only at OK. Owners you can count on.
Orlindi Place of Safety recently embarked on a gardening project which is aimed at generating vegetables that would add to the daily food needed for the children at the center. The gardening project is only 2 weeks old, and they're seeking assistance from those who have gardening skills to come on board and assist them in finishing off the garden.
The Orlindi Place of Safety gardening project commenced recently, and it's showing promising results. Rosalinda Namises, the founder of the gardening project, said that the project was a vision of her late mother, but she could not start the project. With the rainy season underway, she felt that it is now time to start with a garden and have some veggies to help add to the daily balanced meal of the children.
When she passed away, we started with a mango tree actually, but then this time around a friend of mine approached me and asked, don't you want to start up a garden? And I told him, you know, we have a lot of bills, like our municipal bill is so skyrocketing, so it will be impossible. And he said, let's just try it out, please. So last week, Saturday, we took the initiative and we did our garden. We have a lot of food right here. As you can see, we have tomatoes, we have cabbages, we have vegetables. We have cabbages, spinach, carrots. Yeah, we also have fruits. We have guava trees, apple trees, mango trees. Yeah.
Rosalinda further said that the gardening project will come in handy as they often face food shortages at the center.
We got the seedlings from a friend of mine. So he actually started planting it at his house first, and then as the leaves started germinating, when the seeds started germinating, then that's when we decided to come start over. So it took us 2 days. We started on Saturday, and then Sunday we did the fencing.
Rosalinda can only but hope that good Samaritans find the time to assist her gardening project, and urge those who have seedlings and other gardening material to come on board to help grow the garden to feed the 27 orphans at the center.
Growing together means that nobody is left behind.
Supporting each other regardless of our unique destinations.
Het is belangrijk om samen te werken om nieuwe hoogtes te bereiken wat je niet op je eie kan doen nie.
When we grow together, I expect to see a future where all those dreams that everybody that has been attaining to reach have been fulfilled.
I see a future filled with endless possibilities.
And who I want to share this future with is my family, my friends, my loved ones,
my significant other, my teammate, and my partner in life.
The people that are pushing me today, right now.
Buy shares in the initial public offering of MTC. It is a future worth investing in. MTC, make the connection.
Joseph Parkman was in and out of prison, dealing and doing drugs. Then a drug deal went wrong. Joseph was robbed, handcuffed, and scared straight out of the business. For 6 months, he roamed the streets as a homeless addict. Then one night, in a baseball dugout, Joseph met a stranger who totally changed his life.
I stand in awe of the power of the God who's our creator. And Terry and I sit here on this program, and the Lord speaks to us, and it's the word of knowledge. It's one of the manifestations of the Holy Spirit.
Something not always godly.
Not always, that's right. That's right. Well, there's a lot of negative voices out there, as we know.
Yes, there are.
And
so how do you know when it's God saying, Perry, I want to speak this to you right now?
And sometimes you don't know. And I think you pray over it and you think about it. And sometimes you just, a lot of times I'll just envision, as you and I are talking here today, I may envision that I'm here talking with God. And how am I supposed to address this issue?
Okay? Realize Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same for you right now. So let's pray. Let's call on his name and let him do the rest for you. Let's pray.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's edition of Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. A month into the 2020 Dubai Expo in the United Arab Emirates, the Minister of Trade and Industrialization emphasized on the importance of Namibia's participation. Lucia Ipumbu said, unlike most expos that take place across the globe, the Dubai event is the biggest as it attracts millions of visitors for a duration of 6 months.
There is an expo ongoing now in Dubai, where we are showcasing and promoting Namibian products. We must understand that events of that magnitude would require certified standard products and services that are to be distributed at such point in terms of expanding our horizons of market space.
The Minister of Trade and Industrialization, Lucia Ipumbu, highlighted the importance of the 2020 Dubai Expo, stating in an exclusive interview with Business on One that the platform gives Namibia a chance to show the world what it has to offer and draw foreign investors to its fast economic sectors.
This expo, the level and the magnitude, I think one can only understand it if you are to compare with those ones that I have mentioned earlier on. Because it's not necessary to just look at the products, but to look at how do you court the investors. Because the greenfield investments that we are looking at, these are new investors that are to come and venture into areas that we have never ventured in before.
According to the minister, this is also the perfect platform for Namibia entrepreneurs to link up with fellow entrepreneurs from the 192 countries who are participating, as well as foreign investors, in a business forum to share ideas on how to develop the sectors.
On the sideline of this expo, there was a business forum, and that I was invited to attend, that specifically targeted the African entrepreneurs in general in the African countries, so that we can exchange details, can exchange ideas on sectors that we can collaborate on areas of focus that we would want to develop consultation, communication under the framework of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
The Dubai Expo officially kicked off on the 1st of October 2021 and is often regarded to be the biggest hotspot for foreign investors. The Expo is a perfect platform for Namibia to showcase locally produced products to the world market.
Thank you for watching. Join me again next time, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Get ready to enjoy Simba's sounds of flavor.
All the Simba flavors. Let's roll. Liza, smoked beef. Kwenya vinegar. Shaya chocolate. Shakita mud.
Together we roll because Simba roars with flavor.
Akili, 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 akili. We love to wash our hands, and this is how we do it. Wash, wash with clean water. Scrub, scrub, scrub with soap. Rinse, rinse with clean water, and then the germs will go. We love to wash our hands, and this is how we do it. Wash, wash with clean water. Scrub, scrub, scrub with soap. Rinse, rinse with clean water, and then the germs will go. Yay!
Well done, soap and water. You got rid of all the germs on Achilles' hands.
In other leading stories, the US government has donated 70 intensive care unit beds worth more than 700,000 Namibia dollars to the Ministry of Health and Social Services. The beds were procured by the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, through the EQUIP project managed by the South African non-profit organization Right to Care. These state-of-the-art ICU beds will help improve Namibia's COVID-19 and non-COVID clinical case management, said USAID Country Representative McDonald Homer at the handover ceremony in the capital. In addition, the US government will also ship 200 emergency field beds from the United States to Namibia, which Namibian Ambassador to the United States, Margaret Mensah Williams, sourced through the NGO Project Cure based in Denver, Colorado. USAID has worked with Project Cure on numerous other projects in the past, and the US government is excited to facilitate the transportation of these additional beds to quickly respond to possible future surges in COVID-19 cases. The country representative of USAID called on all Namibians to get vaccinated, adding that vaccines reduce the risk of serious illness, hospitalization, and death. Bank Windhoek launched the annual National Vehicle and Asset Finance Marketing Campaign themed Find the One. The VAF marketing campaign will offer customers the best deals to finance their new or used vehicles countrywide. Bank Windhoek's Executive Office of Marketing and Corporate Communications, Jacqueline Pack, emphasized that the campaign's objective is to solidify the bank's position in the vehicle financing market as the ultimate finance partner of choice. She revealed that some of the campaign's benefits will provide customers with an extended repayment term of up to 72 months for all new vehicles and a 90-day vacation payment option. The campaign has come at a time when new vehicle sales in Namibia hit a record low since COVID-19. In its monthly vehicle sales review, IJG Namibia said that the sluggish growth in car sales in Namibia emanated from consumers not being able to afford new vehicles and corporates not replacing their fleets. Beck explained that the bank's annual national VAF marketing campaign could contribute to assisting customers to afford a new motor vehicle.
Hi there, parents. Do you have primary school kids and want them to get extra quality supplementary lessons to up their grades? Then simply switch to One Africa TV's #LearnOn1, where your kids can get maths, English and science lessons every weekday from 9 to 11 a.m. with repeats from 2 to 4 p.m. And thanks to NMH's My Zone, these lessons are 100% Namibian. There's so much to learn with #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Are you a CMAS member? Did you know that should you need medical treatment, you have access to quality private hospitalization, guaranteed specialist treatment in private hospitals across Namibia with Compliment Gap? Compliment Gap is a complimentary product for CMAS members only, which covers the shortfall between what CMAS pays and private hospitals charge. You and your family have more than 2 million in medical gap cover per year at a very affordable price. That's not all. You also have access to emergency evacuation within Namibia and $10 million international travel cover for those unforeseen events abroad. Take the financial burden off your shoulders. Invest in your family's health. SMS GAP to 999 555 and we'll contact you. Terms and conditions apply.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. The Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia, CRAN, hosted a public consultative meeting pertaining to SIM registration conditions which shall be imposed on telecommunications service providers. The purpose of the conditions is to ensure that all active SIM card owners in Namibia are verified and registered. O'Brien says it's one of the best ways in solving crime. Shalauda says suspects will be easily identified, adding that nowadays SIM cards are bought on the streets to con people. Shimi says calls and texts can now be pulled from the service provider and used in court as evidence. Lizette wants to know what is meant with lawful interception. While Nambahu Shilongo and Dennis says it's long overdue. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on One.
mpaka tuyadha otuli pamwe nangoe mompombo ya mainyanyudho ote ea mukuru okuzangenea toterwe mombo omaobigari beigiyari omrunga radio ogwakala nokukundaneka okunyanyudha nokuyakuroshiwana omrunga radio yotango monamibia.
Up next is Castro Lumbu with the sports update.
Welcome to a new week of Sports on One. I'm your host, Castro Ulumbu. The Cup competition, which kicked off on the 17th of April 2021, finally concluded this past weekend with the finals between PS Bet Civics and Mighty Gunners, as well as Blue Waters vs Young African playing for the 3rd and 4th places at the fully packed Veneta Stadium in Swakopmund. Today on One Sports has more on this story. The Much anticipated finals of the MTC NFA Super Cup are where saw PS Bet Civics take on the Army Boys from Wachivarongo Mighty Gunners at a well-attended Vineta Stadium in Swakopmund. It was an exciting match from the start as both teams showed willingness to win the cup competition, but the civilians were the first to break the deadlock through attacking midfielder Aubrey Amsep from a clever free kick on the edge of the box. As the game went on, Mighty Gunners brought the game on level terms when winger Vernon Klaasen equalized from a well-played team goal. At 1-1, Civics looked to be more dominant, but a mistake at the back from Mighty Gunners saw the civilians go 2-1 up at halftime through a Quinton Kurusep shot inside the box. Beginning of the second half, Civics started the game in high spirits as Brave Warriors international midfielder Marcel Papama made it 3-1 for the civilians midway into the second half, but Mighty Gunners, with full support from their noisy fans in the stands, saw them fight back to score from a thunderbolt by Shivolo Mutumbulwa to have a nerve-wracking ending to the game, but Civics held on to win and lift the trophy after more than 10 years waiting to win silverware. After the match, the winning coach Jeremy Zimmer congratulated his players for showing character during the competition, stating that his players showed hunger to win on the day. Zimmer further expressed gratitude towards MTC for organizing the cup competition despite the current situation in football in the country.
I know it will not be an easy game for us, and I know Mighty Gunners, like we also want to win this one. So for us, scoring the first one, scoring the second one, for them coming back, you just show the character that they can come back, and that is what I've told the boys even in the dressing room in the second half. We must not go down and wait for them to come to us, but we must stay organized and discipline our opposition. And they caught us actually with that 2-1 goal there. And after 10 years, it means a lot for us as technical team management and players and the whole supporters of the Mighty Valiants, the whole family. It's a big thing. It's a big achievement for us. And we can just take it and going forward with this achievement.
Being on the losing end again, Mighty Gunners head coach Gebhard Hengari congratulated the winning team, admitting that they deserved it more than his team.
To be honest with you, it's a very bad loss. It's a bad loss to us in a sense that seriously we played well, especially offensively. Offensively we were doing fine. It's just that Civics just got, they just capitalized on the mistakes that we did at the back. All 3 goals, that's the only chances that they got from our mistakes, and they capitalize it, and then they lift up the cup. That's football. It's happening. If you make mistakes in a game of such a magnitude, you're gonna be punished. That is something that my players must learn from it, and then it is gone. There's nothing that we can do with. We just have to congratulate Civics for winning the cup, of course, but very disappointing defensively that we made such fatal errors. We have to say thanks because of, you know, the situation in the country about football. We have to thank MTC for stepping in and at least have the ball rolling for us. It is exciting. We want them. We want other companies to follow suit as well. It is a very good platform for players to showcase their talent. Unfortunately, you know the situations, but we are glad that we are at least playing.
In the third and fourth playoff game, a youthful Blue Waters from Walvis Bay thrashed the boys from the Kettle Country Gobabes Young African Football Club 3-1 through goals from Prince Ueda, David Moses and Enrico Hobeb, whilst the Angiles goal was scored by Chimbaoya Katuo. The champion at the end of the competition walked away with 500,000 Namibia dollars, second place 250,000 Namibia dollars, third place 150,000 Namibia dollars, and fourth place 100,000 Namibia dollars.
Thanks, Castro, for that update. Time now for the weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast, but first an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Rain will spread further into the interior by Wednesday, where heavy storms are most likely in the Omaheke region and Tsungwe constituency. The interior partly cloudy and hot in the north with a few to isolated thunder showers in the northeast, elsewhere sunny and hot to very hot. Windy conditions will persist. The coast partly cloudy and cool to mild with fog patches. The wind moderate to fresh southwesterly. Now a look at the minimum and maximum temperatures around the country and beyond.
We have come to the end of this evening's edition of Today on One. You can join us again for a repeat at 9:30 this evening and 6 a.m. and the Omnibus Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. From me, Isai Sipunga, and the rest of the team, till next time, good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Welcome to the Chumep Hospital. This hospital at the back here, as a complex facility in Chumep, is dating back to 1910. 2018, we joined up with the GIPF. We were very happy to have a senior partner. They got involved in the hospital. They contributed 10 million at that stage for 49% shareholding. Now through that, we have a solid partner and we can move the long way. We can actually shift mountains and we can be an example to other investments like the hospital where the GIPF is involved. We have introduced the first CT scan. We have a radiologist here, so are you ready? That's the first one in the triangle. And we hope that through the CT scan, we can support the theatre. We can actually prevent people from driving, spending money on accommodation, send a loved one to far places, and then they must recover by themselves or spend a lot of cost on accommodation and traveling. We can do it here in Chumep.
Welkom hier op het Chumep Privaat Hospitaal. Ek is Ansie Hanekom, ek is die hospitaalbestuurder, hospital manager, Chumep Private Hospital. Ons het verskillende dissiplines, medies, chirurgie, kinderafdeling, maternity. Ons het 39 personeellede, 95% is dames, goeie personeel, lekker skoon linne, spierwit linne, kom na ons toe, uitmuntende diens wat julle hier sal kry, vriendelike personeel en almal is welkom hier by ons.
Dr. Sivanda. I'm a general practitioner and an occupational health practitioner of this unit at Sunda Private Hospital. I'm in charge of the occupational health clinic. I offer advice to the hospital on health matters, and I do the aeromedical examinations for the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority. What we do is we prevent the onset of illnesses in employees. And the other thing is to check whether people are fit for the jobs that they are applying for, and making sure that we maintain the health of the employees in good shape so that they can continue to be very useful to their companies.
Hello, my name is Beverly Savas. I'm enrolled nurse here at Chumep Private Hospital. We attend to our patients 100%, and all the patients that are here, they appreciate our service. And we help psychologically, physically. That's how we help our patients here.
Basically, this is what is commonly known as computed tomography scan, commonly known as CT scan. So it can be used in a lot of instances. For example, like in patients which are involved in road accidents, it can be used to evaluate the brain if at all there is any blood corrections in the brain. It can also be used to check the spreading of the cancer, for example, like in the chest, in the abdomen. It can also check maybe how big the abdominal masses, the swellings in the abdomen. It can give us all that information.
The GIPF is privileged to be part of the investment in the Tsume Private Hospital, which we consider as one of those strategic investments. As you know, Namibia is blessed with vast distances, and Tsume is located at a location which is quite strategic in many ways. It's a gateway to the 4O regions, but also an industrial hub in its own right. The Tsume Private Hospital renders those essential health services that are essential for any community. And we are happy to be part in the sense that it provides all the vital services as was articulated by the various speakers in this platform. And we look forward to see this investment developing further and expanding its services accordingly. And I'm also happy to say that it augments the services rendered by the public health sector, but also it's being done in conjunction with the private hospitals in the area, especially the private hospitals in Ongwediva that render specialized services. So there is a synergy in the utilization of the key services accordingly.
Beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler and I am here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration, so what's most important is that you take the time in each position that your body needs to release its tension. In this session, we will stretch the hips. What you'll need are yoga blocks or books, thick books, or pillows, especially if you have tight hips. You can do this on a mat, on the floor, on a blanket, or even in your bed. Let's get started. So we're going to start on the floor with the soles of our feet together. I'm going to grab around the feet. This is a butterfly position. So in order to warm up the hips, I'm just going to flap the butterfly wings. And again, take your time. I'm going to lean forward, and here, again, if the hips are too tight, you can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath. You might even feel a stretch in the back here. From this position, I'm going to take one arm right behind me, not too far from my body. The other arm, inhale, exhale, press the hip open. And come back to center. Change. One arm right behind me to lengthen the spine, the other hand on the knee. Inhale, exhale, press the hip open and back to center. Now we're going to lie down on the floor. And first, before I get started, I have to make sure that my body, my spine is in alignment. I'm going to just open up the neck area. And you can spend as much time as you need here, allowing the force of gravity to weigh on the legs to open up the hips. You can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath the knees. And gradually, you can take the feet even further down and spend enough time in each position. From here, we're going to go into an internal hip rotation. I'm going to spread my feet to the side, lean the knees inwards.
you have a little bit more flexibility, you don't really feel the stretch, just take your feet even further apart to deepen this internal rotation stretch in your hips. From here, I'm just going to place my feet, and without repositioning the feet, I'm going to take my arms to the side, and then I'm just going to rock my legs side to side, keeping the upper body facing up, shoulders down. And then I'm going to stop on one side, take the lower leg over the upper to add weight to deepen the stretch. Release the leg and switch. Other side, lower over the upper. And back to center. Last part, I'm going to spread my legs as wide open as I can, and I'm going to just row the boat. So what's important here is that the knees don't lift off the floor. Make sure you row both sides. Keep the knees and both bum cheeks on the floor. Alternatively, you can just lean forward. You can hang out on the pillow. Take your time on the blocks or on your books. And that is it. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe into your stretches, and happy stretching.
Nothing is too good for my daughter. Now here's the deal, Nambi. There's no playing around with other boys before your wedding. Do you understand me? It's the most important day of your life.
Nambi, baby, you have a face like a beautiful person. I got you this Virgin Mary necklace to protect your innocence.
Stupid man. We have loved each other since high school, and now you want to turn your back on me? All the plans we made, you just throw them away? And you want Nambi now? When I've always been there for you, Ziwa, do you understand? And she doesn't even love you. I wasted my time on someone like you.
Don't be like that, Jalia.
Love, everybody needs it. Love.
Humanitarian crises are all too familiar to television viewers. Civil wars that cause huge movements of refugees, worldwide pandemics, and natural disasters like earthquakes and tsunamis. This is the way most of us are used to seeing these heart-wrenching events, on a screen in front of us, watching passively. But what if you could step into the frame and actually feel what it's like for the individuals on the ground?
People come out of it feeling enlightened and often moved and often ready to take action. A lot of people automatically say, well, what can I do? How can I get involved?
Garbo Aurora is leading a team at the United Nations who are using cutting-edge technology to raise awareness, empathy and funds, both to respond to humanitarian crises and to bolster support for a new set of sustainable development goals around the globe.
Virtual reality is the ability to really take part in a story that usually you're only a passive spectator on. And you actually get the sensation of feeling like you're being there.
By using multiple cameras that can record in all directions and software that can stitch the images together, virtual reality creates an experience that enables the viewer to see a movie from every angle, above, below, and behind.
It's exciting for the UN, to be involved in some of those early experiments of how we're trying to tell stories, make these films, and work with some of the most cutting-edge people in the industry on it.
So the UN reached out to us and connected, and we realized that there was a great opportunity here to tell some very important stories and to tell them in a way that we thought would be totally new and highly impactful. The way that I define virtual reality at this point in time is basically the hacking of your senses to convince you that you're somewhere other than where you are. Often I think of it as a sense of vulnerability. So one of the things we've realized in some of our stories is you have a heightened sense of empathy and a heightened sense of connection as a result of that vulnerability.
That heightened sense of connection and empathy was exactly what Gabo Aurora was looking to create at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Not only to inspire leaders to take action, but also to influence donors to increase funding for disaster response efforts.
I'd started experimenting with using innovative ways of advocacy, and I started talking to a lot of different partners and people. What could we do that would be incredible? And someone said, you know, I just came from a meeting at Samsung, and, you know, with some of these other virtual reality headsets, wouldn't it be amazing if you got all of those elite people who could actually go to a refugee camp, or they could go to an Ebola clinic? I just really felt it would get our issues highlighted.
In addition to the screenings at Davos, virtual reality portals have been set up to view the films at high-level political forums around the world. The virtual reality film on display was Clouds Over Sidra.
Clouds Over Sidra is a short film in virtual reality about a girl named Sidra who lives in Zatari camp, which is a Syrian refugee camp in Jordan. And it is a story about a young girl who is giving you a tour of the camp, of what it's like, what her life is like. When the film debuted in Davos, it was a sensation to everyone we showed it to. They come out of it very deeply moved. I'd say half the people who watch Clouds Over Sidra cry. And then we cut a version for UNICEF where it's face-to-face fundraisers. The way they do that is usually someone with a clipboard on the street in Europe or in different countries. So they thought, well, what if we got people to experience virtual reality on the street?
Quite sad. They don't have a good environment to stay. We try our best to help them.
Early reporting from UNICEF has shown that when using virtual reality, they've doubled the effectiveness of their fundraising efforts. This report was produced by Ben Lybrand for the United Nations.
Scientists are racing to find a COVID-19 vaccine. Creating a vaccine usually takes years, sometimes even decades. More than 150 vaccine candidates are being developed worldwide. Some of the trials furthest ahead have produced encouraging results. Several possible vaccines appear to have produced an immune response with antibodies, T cells, and no serious side effects. Antibodies are protective proteins that fight infections in the body. Some T cells kill infected cells. Others help B cells to make the right antibodies to fight a virus. It's uncertain how long immunity to COVID-19 would last. 6 other human coronaviruses have been known about for years. Natural immunity for the most common 4 is quite short-lived and generally lasts a few years. A COVID-19 vaccine could require booster jabs after years or even months. Scientists are using a variety of methods to make a vaccine. Several human trials are creating vaccines using the genetic code of the virus. Other human trials, and some with animals, are trying more traditional methods, such as using a weakened or inactive virus.